All right, guys. Our show tonight is dedicated to the folks in Florida who are dealing with Hurricane Milton. We are hoping everyone there is safe. We are going to talk about are all these natural disasters. We've got Milton, we've got Helene, and all the terrible stuff that happened in Tennessee, North Carolina. Are these disasters going to affect the car market? Particularly the classic and collector car market on Bring a Trailer. We'll talk about that. We'll do some predictions. This is Bid Nerds. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube car game show. All right, guys, welcome to Bid Nerds. That's your nerd out on the most interesting cars from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites on the internet. My name is John Polnik. We are coming to you live from the Downtown Container Park in downtown Las Vegas in the Rami studio, along with my partner Michael Deeb in San Francisco. What's up, Michael Deeb?
Well, good evening, JP. Still, I know it's been a couple days since Luftgekühlt and that big trip to LA. Big shout out to Matt Weitzel, who was my epic adventure travel buddy. But man, I am still just feeling all the good Porsche vibes from that weekend. What a great time. Thanks to our host, Ben down in LA, all the Vegas crew and some of the Seattle crew that came down. JP, did you have as good a time as I did? I know you disappeared. You guys disappeared into the fog early on Sunday morning. My day was quite a bit longer, which is why we couldn't pod on Sunday night. But did you, now that you're home and settled in, did you have a really good time? That was a great weekend.
That was definitely a Luft weekend in the spirit, and that's kind of the way we remember them, right? It seems like we just haven't gotten back to normal ever since all the crazy lockdowns and stuff. And having the Luft 10 experience at where was it? The Universal Studios. Yep. I got to celebrate. I got the fortune of celebrating with our friends at Godden Classic. Having become the national champions again. So back to back. Hopefully next year we'll have a dynasty. So that was a really cool experience. And then having their car displayed at Luftgekühlt and having my film on the big screen there was really a treat. That was kind of, having gone through this whole Luftgekühlt kind of cult experience from Luft 3 all the way till now, to go to Luft 3 back in, 2015 or 16 or something, and kind of not knowing anyone, to now having my work actually played in the show with everyone getting to experience that. That was just like, wow. And then, of course, what makes that show great really is just all the friends and all the people that just you can't get. Who know? People keep asking me about the cars. I don't know. And what cars? It was all just the people that we got to see. Because, when you and I were walking around, you couldn't go more than 20, 30 feet before you'd bump into someone. That's why you go. Great experience. Great experience.
So I sent to a lot of the Vegas guys an Auto Week article that Frank Amoroso sent me, and there's at least a dozen of us that have our cars in the 100 most profound cars at Luftgekühlt, which was great. I sent that to all the guys, and then today I was on Instagram really quickly. 000 did a post, 6 still photos and 1 video of their turbo concept car, and it's a video of them walking up on the car and then showing all the people in the background. And then you know who the people in the background were? John Polnik talking to Dave Matthews right behind the turbo concept. Wow. You guys were the guys that were like clearly in the backdrop of the turbo concept. The only video that 000 posted of their car is
I haven't seen that.
You and Dave Matthews in the background. So it's really cool. Check it out. Anyways, we're home. We're back, and let's get into it because it's been a while and we've got some reconciliations, JP. I, for one, can't wait to see who won all 3 of these cool cars from last week.
Yeah, let's get into one last thing about Luftgekühlt. The funny, you're talking about pictures that went up. Porsche Classic put up a photo of the Godden team holding up the trophy, and we had our champagne, and I had my tattoo, and so it's like the Dirt Fossil Nation tattoo was right. I mean, that was like the dominant focal point of the ad, and I'm just like, oh man, you guys are gonna get so much shit about not having the right article for the. I couldn't believe Porsche actually posted that. So thanks, guys. All right,
that's awesome.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. Let's go through the results of the auctions that we covered on the last episode. That was kind of a while ago, not really relevant to the topic of the Hurricane thing. So let's try to get through that as quickly as possible. And I want to do that because I think one of the nerds, not me, got a Yahtzee, so we don't really want to spend much time on that. What was the first car on the list, Michael Deeb?
Okay, JP, let's see. Our first car was the 2004 Lamborghini Gallardo with a 6-speed manual. JP, as I recall, 2004 was the first year for the Gallardo. This had a normally aspirated V10 and all-wheel drive. But we are seeing now, as we look back on the Gallardo, that the 6-speed manuals are bringing a premium. And here's kind of a no-nonsense silver German-Italian car with 56,000 kilometers, as our car, I think, started life in Canada, but is now here stateside. So it's up to 56,000 kilometers, which is about 35,000 miles. The car is on PCAR market out of Prospect, Kentucky. And so we just wondered what this car should do. These are pretty affordable cars, JP. And with that in mind, I thought that this car might sell for under $100,000. So my bid was $94,000. JP, you took the under, and of course, we always have to consider that PCAR market might not be the best place to sell your exotic car. They tend not to do a great job representing their clients. So, John, you took the under at $89,000. So a couple of numbers here to unpack. As we know with PCAR market, first of all, our car hammered at $97,000, which I think is respectable. But it was a failure to sell on 11 bids. Let me jump right into that. 11 bids is not a lot of action, even per PCAR market. And at $97,000, based on the evidence that I told you, I think they should have taken the money. JP, the car is in the deal tank for $115,000. So my first question to you tonight is, do you agree with me that this guy should have taken the $97,000 and ran? Again, this is a Canadian-derived car. And I think that's always going to be just a tinge of a scarlet letter. I don't think anybody's given this guy $115,000 for this car. Do you?
I don't. Did you say the car is in Canada or it was originally from Canada?
From Canada, and it is offered for sale at a Prospect, Kentucky. And you keep talking, and I'll try to tell you where the
title. I think that delta just isn't that great because at $115, let's be realistic, he'll probably come down to $110, $105, and that delta between $105 and was it 97? Or I mean, come on, dude, what are you doing? If you don't want this car, just get rid of it. Why bother even putting it in the deal tank? I think this is a great bang for the buck at around $100,000, give or take. You know, the real mistake of the seller was putting it on PCAR market in the first place. This thing should have been on Bring a Trailer, and he probably would have gotten the money that he's looking for. But I understand some people just don't have the patience of waiting around to get on to Bring a Trailer. And we have, oddly enough, we covered that 79 911. Some of you guys may recall that wide body conversion with the Cool Group 4 gold wheels or whatever that failed to sell on, failed to sell on BaT and only brought something like hold on, we lost Deeb for a second there. Yeah, that 79 failed to sell on BaT, and they actually brought it back to market like literally the next day or a couple days later on PCAR market, and PCAR market actually got another, I don't know, $5,000 or $6,000 for it, but it still failed to sell, still didn't get where the guy wanted to be, so he burned the car. I think this Lamborghini at this point, he could try to relist it on BaT, and it will take months to do it. And you know, he might get another $5,000-$10,000, but at that point, will it have been worth it? You could have just gotten your money and moved on. But this guy wants to drag this car behind him for a while. What do you guys think the results of this really nice manual Lamborghini Gallardo? Should the seller have sold on PCAR market, or are they better off to wait around? With all the disasters going on in the hurricanes, it might drive some prices down on stuff like this. So all the more reason probably the seller probably should have taken the money. All right, what's the next car that we covered on the last episode?
All right, JP, we took a very interesting look at a 2003 Porsche 911 Turbo Coupe. Our car is on Bring a Trailer, listed out of Scottsdale, Arizona, by our buddy Matt Crandall and the crew from 911R. Very good photography. And this, JP, with a little deep dive, this is a really special car. So our coupe is a manual transmission. It has been treated to an X50 package, which is going to boost horsepower up to 450. And the car also has ceramic brakes, which was news to me on an 03. I honestly didn't think ceramics had taken a bow in the U.S. until 2004. So this is extraordinarily equipped, and it's also got an aero package. The car has just 20,000 original miles, JP. And if to top it all off, it has a slightly different wheel. It has the 18-inch Sport Techno wheel. And again, coupled with the aero kit and the ceramics, lovely black paint and these incredible photos, the car looks stunning, and it's essentially brand new. 20,000 miles, JP, on a 21-year-old car. That is low miles indeed, and it's a really special car by the numbers and a hell of a performer even by today's standards. With this seller on this platform, I thought this car should do well, but my enthusiasm was just a little tempered. It is kind of a soft market, so I thought the car would hammer at 110, even though I believe the value of this car should be $130,000 or more. JP, you went there. You took the over at $125,996. John, it is a strange time. We've got a soft market. We got the end of the sports car season, the collector car season, and we're heading smack dab right into not only hurricanes, but an election. So, JP, our car hammered at just $92,500, where it failed to sell on 18 bids. So first and foremost, I know what your bid was, what you thought the car would hammer for, but tell me what you think this car should be valued at, because again, this car sort of, if you're looking for a 996 and you can't afford a GT2, I would think you'd be willing to spend upwards of $150,000 to have the next best thing. And that's what I think this car is here. So in my opinion, this car is worth somewhere between $130,000 and $150,000, depending on the day. But then give me a reason why you think this car only, fell short at $92,500. If 911R can't get real money for this car, what is going on? How come this car didn't break six figures? What is going on?
Yeah, I think these cars, for all the reasons you said, are not going to find the big money. Look, the 996 is a great car, especially in the way this car is done. But 996s were cheap for a long time, and even a 996 turbo with an X50 and all the cool stuff, still, to a lot of us, still looks like a 996. And in our brains, it's really hard for my lizard brain to ever think of this car as a six-figure car again, even with the low miles, even in the condition. I think if I'm going to spend 110, 120, 130, I'd rather get the Gallardo. I hate to say it, but I just would. That car is going to give you so much more eyeball for about the same money, even though this car might be the better car. Yeah, I think 996 turbos are not going to see big money again until we see a big turnaround in the economy, if we do at all. And I think when I bid that big number, that was almost 2 weeks ago at this point, we had just seen the interest rates go down, and I kind of figured there'd be a short-term bump, just a little blip. I didn't think it would last very long, but I kind of thought, some people might get stupid thinking, oh, there's a half a point, I'm going to go nuts now. But, that just doesn't seem to be the case, and I think people are kind of freaked out. All right, what do you guys think of the results of this 996 Turbo? Should the seller have taken the money, or is that all the money there is for one of these anymore? Or is there big money waiting around the corner? Let us know what you think. All right, what's the next car that we talked about on the list?
All right, JP, the last car we're going to circle back to is our 1993 Jaguar XJR-S convertible V12, which is 37,000 miles, offered to us on Bring a Trailer out of Turner, Oregon. This particular car, JP, just has a really special sport package by Jaguar's Jaguar Sport Division. Tom Walkinshaw Racing, who has history in Formula One, hand-built these 6-liter motors to make 300 and let me read it to you real quick and then we'll get to the numbers. 318 horsepower and 339 pound-foot of torque, considerably more than all the other ones you've ever seen on the road. The problem is, JP, nobody's looking for used Jaguars, even the special ones, and that's a problem. So, John, with that in mind, I thought that this car would hammer for $35,000. You took the under right underneath me at $34,000. JP, the bad news is you missed a Yahtzee by just $1,000. The good news is your partner got one, so you don't have to worry. You can sleep well tonight. JP, the car hammered for $35,000, where it failed to sell on 37 bids. The Jaguar that we're preaching nobody wants got more bids than the other two cars combined. What in the hell is going on out there, JP? It's so crazy. Interesting that there was a lot of action on the car. I don't know how to explain that. And then this guy obviously is looking for like $45,000, $50,000. And I do sort of think that that's what the car is worth. I don't know where he finds the person that wants to spend that much for this car. It probably winds up in Hemmings, and it could sit in Hemmings for a year without moving the needle. I feel sorry for people that bought Jaguars. XKEs were selling for 300 grand before the pandemic. John, you cannot get 100 to 150 for a nice one today. The boomers and the people that collect, the demographic that collects Jaguars, these guys are aging out of the genre, just like we see boomers aging out of domestic cars across the country. And there's no kids that have any association to Jaguar that want to continue to run these cars. This is a very special car. It's going nowhere, and it just kind of pours some out, makes me sad. I don't know. Anything you want to close on that one?
Yeah, I think you're totally wrong. I think the seller was smart to not sell the car at that number. I think the seller had a crystal ball. I think the seller might be in the CIA, because clearly it's the CIA that's causing all of these weather disasters. And they knew that they were about to flood Florida. The only person that wants this car is some boomer in Florida, and he's about to lose the one he has. There's all the Jaguar XJ, whatever the hell this is. They're about to be flood damaged cars, and they're going to get destroyed. And that's who wants this car, and those guys are going to be looking for cars. In all seriousness, we talk about values potentially going down because of disasters, but in the normie car market, like people who buy regular cars, this is probably going to cause, if you're buying Camrys or Teslas or whatever, or even CDJR, like Chryslers or whatever, Chrysler's got to be like, oh, thank God. Because a couple 100,000 of their cars that they couldn't sell to save their damn lives are about to be flooded and paid for by insurance. So I think there's literally going to be a bit of a shortage in some cars, and maybe even cars like this. I mean, because there are a bunch of people that have stuff like this that are going to get ruined here this week, and unfortunately, and might be in the market for stuff. So I don't know. We shall see. All right, let's get to commercial. We're going to be right back with some predictions, and we're going to talk about the hurricanes and how they might affect the listings that we're going to talk about right after this. Hey guys, I got to tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you got to call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. That's right. Check it out. I am wearing my Aviera Our Smith custom watch. It's not my watch, actually. I'm just holding on to it. I'm the caretaker for the moment. We are going to be giving this watch away on Bid Nerds. We're going to come up with a contest in order to let this watch go to one of you lucky viewers. Even the boomers are eligible. We always knock on the boomers. My partner and I, Michael Deeb, are boomer adjacent, really. But we love you guys. Yeah. We love all the nerd herd. We don't care how old you are, but we do give you a hard time.
From where we sit, we can smell the boomers. We're that close.
Yeah. We just refuse to talk about our ailments. My knee reconstruction. If you're a boomer, let me give you a little bit of advice for a guy who's almost there. I'm going to be there. I'm so right there with you guys. Just when you talk about whatever's wrong with you, your shoulder or your heart valve or whatever health thing you got going on, nobody wants to talk about that at all, especially anyone younger than you. You're just making, especially someone my age, because I'm just like, oh God, that's going to be me like next week. I'm just like, it just gives me anxiety. I don't want to hear about your medical problems. I just don't. I do not care. I feel bad for you, and I know I'm going to be in the same boat. Please shut the F up about that crap. All right, that's our public service announcement for the night. Okay, we've got cars, we've got predictions, we've got some really interesting cars tonight. As always, that's the only cars that we pick. And will the hurricane affect the values and the auction results of the auctions that are going to close this week? My take is yeah, the hurricanes will probably cause a shortage in normal cars and a lot of things maybe. But my biggest concern would be if I'm trying to sell a car and it's listed and it's closing tomorrow when the whole news cycle is going to be disaster on TV. How many people are going to be paying attention to auctions tomorrow? I think if you've got an auction closing tomorrow, you're probably a little bit worried. Or on the flip side, will people just be battening down the hatches and sitting there have nothing else to do but bid on cars? Because they know they're going to get an insurance check. Boy, let's get to some of the cars and talk about it and see what you guys think.
All right, quickly, JP, we're going to take a peek at an auction that is on Cars and Bids. Our good friend, your good friend, Chris Carbine down at Carbine Motor Cars has listed this very nice, very clean 2002 Mercedes-Benz E430 sedan. It is a one-owner car with a V8, and the car is listed out of New Orleans, Louisiana. It's at Carbine's place. Car only has 65,500 miles, and it basically closes tomorrow on Cars and Bids. Listen, if you're anywhere in the area, like adjacent to the Gulf, and you need a replacement car, if your insurance company gives you some money and strokes you a check for 10 grand, I don't know why you're not calling Chris and buying something exactly like this. JP, I actually worked for Mercedes-Benz when this car debuted. Everybody wanted an E55 AMG, but the 430 with a V8 that made 275 horsepower, some of the cars had a sport package, which was strictly cosmetic. But if you did get a sport package, it upgraded the tires to a super sport tire. And this car on a super sport tire comes alive. It's a really good sedan. And if you take care of them, these things are pretty reliable. At least the drivetrain is. And this car looks super clean inside, evidence that it's a one-owner car. Chris is just running the car, no reserve. JP, it closes tomorrow. And we just thought, he threw it out to us and asked us if we take a look at this car. So there you go. An E430 sedan. So this is the W210 or something, right? I think, yeah, W2 generation of the E-Class. Super nice car. Mike Jackson area, when Mike Jackson was in charge of Mercedes-Benz, they started to produce cars and go for younger buyers, and this car was to appeal to a younger buyer, and they're fun to drive. So, JP, I just lofted over to you. If you lived in Louisiana, would you rock one of these?
Man, I live in Las Vegas, and I'm thinking, gosh, Chris, my buddy, my bro, with this car going no reserve on Cars and Bids, it's not uncommon for the last day to not get bids, and this thing's only at $3,700. I'm going to be paying attention to this thing. Like, if it doesn't sell at $3,700, okay, Chris, do I just reserve. Wait for? It's no reserve. It has to sell, right? So I'm going to be paying attention to this. I would fly out to New Orleans and hang out with Chris for dinner, and then drive this thing all the way home and make a couple of day road trip. This car just eats up miles on the freeway. Yep. I've owned one of these, and they really are fantastic. They're not sports cars or anything like that, but what a comfortable place to be and absurdly reliable, like you said. So, yeah, this could be the bargain of the week. It's not exactly a high-value car, but if you want a car to just – man, we're talking about the perfect daily driver that you just don't care about, but looks nice enough that you can show up anywhere, and who cares what happens to it in a parking lot or whatever. And I'm all about this car. I love this thing. I would find a parking spot for it, and if it doesn't get another bid like we see sometimes on Cars and Bids, I will be taking a crack at it, and maybe I'll get to hang out. It'd be worth it just to go out and see Chris. Deeb, what do we think this thing's going to go for? Do I have a shot at a muffaletta sandwich, or am I just, in my dreams?
So Chris's car is running no reserve on Cars and Bids, and it closes tomorrow, and that's going to be 12 Pacific time. So back out whatever time zone you in earlier than that. The car is currently listed at $3,850 on 11 bids. JP, I know Chris is looking to get basically twice that. And, obviously we're all a little bit sweating here because it's going into the final hour and we don't see Cars and Bids get a ton of action at the end. So if you're interested, please tell somebody that might be looking for a great car. Chris has been he's really good with his engagement and super polite, and yet he's being challenged a lot in the comments. I wrote a nice paragraph. If you have time tonight before you go to bed or first thing in the morning, reach out there and endorse the car, endorse the seller if you can, and let's try and get him some money. I think this car, JP, the value on this car should be around $8,430. That's going to be my bid because I think that's what it's worth. The tea leaves aren't looking great now, but let's see what happens. JP, where are you at? Again, it's at $3,850 now. My bid is $8,430, running no reserve. John, where you at?
Yeah, I mean, I think about 6 years ago, I sold mine and it had 190,000 miles on it. I think I got $4,000 for it. So the fact that it's only at $3,700 or $3,800 right now, it's got to keep going. I'm going to double it, but you're at $8,000.
84.
84. Okay, I'll park it at $8,000. $8,430. How's that?
That's my bid. That's my bid. So you go 8,000.
Oh, I'll just go 8,000 then. Okay. Yeah, I'll go 8,000. And but I will be paying attention to this car. If no one's paying attention to this and people are paying attention to the news, Chris, I will see you in a couple of weeks to pick it up. All right, guys, what do you think this little E430 will bring? Will it bring the big money, or is Milton gonna cloud the auction results? Let us know what you think. And what's the next car on our list, Michael Deeb?
JP, I literally just clicked out of it by accident. All right, John. I read the Stuttgart market letter, and they gave me a preview when this car first hit, and it is a 1977 Porsche 930 Turbo Carrera listed on Bring a Trailer, running no reserve, out of Newport Beach, California, by our friends at Silver Arrow Cars Limited. And JP, we've been doing the show for 4 years, and 4 years ago, I feel like Silver Arrow Cars just came online. And over the years, we occasionally cover a car from them, and it's always a dream car. It's always something really weird and rare that you would love to have. Now, you say Turbo Carrera, what's the big deal, Michael Deeb? Gentlemen and ladies, please sit down and take off your hats as we sing the praises of this car. It has 4,300 miles from new, and it is a one-owner car right up until 2024 when Silver Arrows Cars bought the car out of a collection that was put up for sale, a collection of 80 cars. They bought this car, cleaned it up, and brought it back to sell. Now, apparently somebody got the car going again, but I think they purchased the car in August, and it's come to market here at the end of September, beginning of October. But somewhere along the line, somebody refreshed the motor, because obviously this car sat for years and years and years. So my guess is, JP, they basically, I'm assuming they did a quote-unquote reseal to get that engine fresh and operational again. I don't know that they necessarily did it full top end, but JP, they've obviously split the case, resealed it, put it back together. And so this car is turnkey and ready to go. I also think they put a new set of the Pirelli P6 tires on there, and it looks from the photo bucket that the original set of those tires, which only have 4,000 miles on them, are included in the sale if you want to go full preservation mode and roll this car onto the lawn at Pebble Beach or whatnot. It doesn't look like the very bottom of the engine case still has the factory Cosmoline, but everything else underneath the car looks as though it rolled off the showroom floor and then was put away hermetically. Because as we know, JP, that Cosmoline browns and hues over time, and that's what's happened on the suspension and corners of the front. Anywhere that corrosion could happen, it's definitely still sealed up there. Also, JP, a copy of the Porsche Audi window sticker is included in the sale. This car listed at $28,525. 3 options, JP: limited slip, sport seats left and right, and a sunroof. $370, $255, and $710, bringing the grand total to $29,949.50 on the window sticker. JP, this is a preservation 100-point car all day long. I think this one is going to break the internet. I'm super excited to see this car. The photography is excellent. It looks as if you've gone back in time and you're shopping for one of these brand new back in 1977. Obviously, the Turbo Carreras are the pre-intercool cars. So this is just a 3-liter engine with a turbo, no intercooler. the authentic whale tail spoiler, if you want to nerd out, which we love to do. And JP, I have this car at about 245, 248 horsepower, which doesn't sound a lot, but it's considerably more than the 210 that would have come in a Euro Carrera at the same time on the showroom floor. So JP, I know you know these cars really well. I got the pleasure of buying and selling one of them while I was at Godden. It's kind of my favorite, the early cars. And this is as good as it absolutely gets. I think this car could set a high watermark despite all the bad news and the soft market. So what do you think about this silver metallic Turbo Carrera?
This is the kind of car that, despite what's going on in the world, this is the blue chip that we always talk about. The best of the best, the nicest of the nice. The car that everyone wants to have, the car that collectors are really looking for are cars like this. And almost as sad as the awful disasters that are happening with the hurricanes is the fact that this car is never going to be driven. Whoever buys this is probably going to roll it from wherever it is onto a truck and then into a museum or into a garage where it will continue to languish, and someone in 10 years will rebuild the engine again for no good reason, because why bother? It's not going anywhere. A lot of people are talking in the chat. They're talking about the ride height and the stance and everything like that. And I'm with you guys. It would look so much better if it were Euro height. And my first inclination is to go, well, that's how they were delivered, high like that. So who cares? But that would be the case if it were an American car. But this is a Euro car, right? So in Europe, it should have. No, this is an American car?
No, it's an American car. Yeah, it was sold.
Okay.
It was sold in the States.
Well, then there you go. That's why it's as hot. That's why it looks like a dang Safari, because all cars that are delivered to Europe or to America from Europe in this era just have this like 50 feet off the ground kind of thing. Look, go back and watch something like Smokey and the Bandit, right? They've got the TA, the Trans Am with Burt Reynolds and what was her name? Sally Field cruising around.
Yep.
He's in a sports car and then he's going off road. And it's like everything was a Safari in the 70s, including this 930. So, yes, the inclination would be lower to make it look better, but not if you're a collector, not if this car is going to go in a museum, which is exactly where this car is headed. All that said, how much will the museum pay for this car, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP. So if we take a quick peek at classic.com, at Amelia Island in 2022, a 77 930 with, oh my God, where did it go? 20,000 miles, blue, like Gemini blue, sold for $390,000. And then late last year, December 2nd, 2023, RM Sotheby's had a collection, the white collection out of Texas, all those white Porsches. They had a 76 911 Turbo with just 8,000 miles. It also brought $390,000. So Haggerty says that a concourse condition 930 Turbo Carrera is only worth $275,000, but we've seen two with higher miles bring $390,000. So JP, I'm all in at $390,000. I think that's going to happen again, because I think this car, despite the white collection's provenance, I think this is the superior car. If I was a collector and I could choose between all three, I would take this one. The one owner, the originality, and the low miles are going to sell this car. And silver's so iconic on a Porsche. Just 4,300 miles here. That's less than half of the white collection car. So my bid, JP, is going to be $390,930. And I think it'll sell. Well, it's running no reserve. This car is selling no matter what. I should add, JP, that it's at $250,000. I keep doing that. I get so excited to give the bids. I keep forgetting to tell you where it's at. 13 bids, $250,000, and it closes tomorrow. JP, I think it's going to bring $390,000, like the two best ones that we've ever seen come to market have brought. I think this one's better than both of them. It should bring that much money or more. Where are you?
Well, I'll tell you where I am. I'm looking at this car, and I think that the folks that want this aren't around right now. They're paying attention to other things. I don't think this car is going to do well, not because the car isn't amazing and isn't perfect. I think that any car over $300,000 is going to struggle to sell at all. Doesn't matter what it is. And I think this car is no exception. I think this car... Look, it's BAT, so lots can happen in the last minute. I don't think this car is going to get much. Where's it at right now? 250?
250. 250.
I'm going to give it $100,000 more. I don't think it gets more than 350, 930. And I know it's no reserve, and I think that's going to help the car. But even that, I don't think there's any chance in hell that it brings the number that you're talking about. I think it would have had they sold this at Sotheby's or something like that back at Monterey just a few months ago. But to do this in October, going into election season, into World War season, into all the negative stuff that's going on out there, I think people with money like this are going, unless you like look at this as an alternative to a bar of gold, which maybe it would be. All right, guys, let us know what you think this 930 will bring. Is it the kind of car that can hedge disaster? Is this the kind of car that will continue to appreciate no matter what happens in the world? Is this a good way to safeguard your dollar bills in a mass inflationary time? There's your drinking game, guys. Let us know what you think, and let's move on to the next car. Michael Deeb.
All right, JP. Our next car. What are we doing for the next car? Let's do the 1974 Porsche 911 Cabriolet that has been converted in every way to a 993 convertible that now sports a 3-liter motor mated to a G50 transmission and is twin turbocharged. John, I've never seen a car like this. This is absolutely the car Porsche should have built. Could you imagine if there were 993 turbo cabs in the market? If coupes are bringing 300 all day long, what would cabs bring? I know we usually pay more for coupes, but I think a turbo cab would bring 400 grand all day, every day, and twice on whatever day today is, Wednesday. JP, looks like it's polar silver with sport seats. It's got the sport steering wheel and beautiful floor mats. It's got the G50. It's got the full 993 interior. I mean, somebody went to town and spent some money. The only thing I'm not getting a gauge on, and I really don't know where to begin, is what would a 3-liter with Turbonetics twin turbochargers make in horsepower, and how fun would it be to drive on 993 wheels with a G50 gearbox? This looks like a Polnik special. I hope you bid on this thing, buddy. This car is so cool. It's really trippy to see. I have to admit it. I mean, it looks like a C2S cab, really, with the big reds and the 18s, but it's a 3-liter twin turbo, and it's 74, so it's smog exempt in California. This car's got a lot going for it. It previously sold on Bring a Trailer back in August of 2024 for $51,000. I don't know how we missed it, out of Sacramento, California. But John, it's been relisted for a second time out of Sacramento, California. So I'm assuming that somebody didn't come through and pay for it because it's the same. Looks like it's the same seller, which is kind of a bummer. I hate seeing people not get paid. We still have a couple of days to go before this one closes, JP, but you picked it. It was a 74 Targa, and now it's a 993 turbo cab. Tell me what you see. You've owned a 95 cab for more than a decade. Pick up some of the nuances here, and what do you think this would feel like compared to the car you used to own all those years?
Yeah, it's hard to say because, this started out as a Targa, and they chopped the roof off of it at some point and then did all the things. I mean, this is also a wide body too. They actually converted it to coilovers, so it's more like an independent corner, suspension, unlike the torsion bars that this thing would normally have had. I mean, if it's got heavy duty sway bars and drop links and all that fun stuff, it should handle well. I mean, the amount of power this thing's got to be pushing through this car has got to be a hell of a lot of fun. And it's not all-wheel drive like a normal 993 turbo would be, so you don't have all that extra weight in the front. I mean, this is a bastard car. This is a Frankenstein. This thing isn't going to bring a whole heck of a lot of money, even though a real 993 turbo cab, those bring about $1.5 million, I think, because I think there's only one, or maybe there's three. It's one of the rarest cars, of that Porsche has ever made. So everyone's going to know this ain't a real one out of the gate, but I don't know. Who cares? I wish there was a way to take that wing off. It just doesn't work with the Cabrio And unfortunately, you need it because you need something to be over the top of those intercoolers
Radiator.
there. I think this is a lot of fun. This is a car that's a lot of bang for the buck, that will make the purists grimace, and then the cabrio-phobes will clutch their pearls. But, you know, who gives a crap? This car is going to be a ton of... there is a driving video. It's a short one. I don't know if I could show it, but it actually looked like the thing was just ripping like crazy. What do we think this thing's going to bring, Michael Deeb?
Let's watch this video for a second. Will we get the sound?
Guys. Yeah, again, it's very short. I don't know why it's... is it doing something? Sorry, guys. Dead air. Oh, here we go.
There you go. There you go.
This is the interior video. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, it looks like it's supposed to be it. Shift. Yeah, I mean, that's what you get, bro.
Man,
you
that's
miss
so
shifts
you.
when you've got the one hand on the wheel. He's all tatted up. He's got his hand down on this. It's like, okay, that's the guy that's going to crash on the crest if he ever brings the car out. What's this going to bring? Does it bring any money at all? Does it matter? What do we think?
The only thing would have been better is if he was holding a can of beer while he was doing that. All right, JP. Again, our car previously sold on August 30th for $51,000 on 35 bids. But apparently the car has come back to market. So I assume there was a failure to transact. Currently, JP, our car is listed for $43,000 on just 16 bids, and it has 2 days yet before it closes. John, I still think it's a really special car, and it's already at $43,000. I think this car should get right back to where it once was. I'm going to go just a little bit over what it was previously. I think he's got even more eyeballs. It's as if he ran it for 2 weeks. I'm going to give you $53,000 where I think it will sell. I'm optimistic. It seems like it's a lot of performance and a lot of, what's the word for unique? You know, like it's bespoke almost. So what do you say, JP? I'm 53. I'm all in on this little sucker. I don't know why you got me by the neck on this one, but I'm all in on it. Where are you?
Yeah. I mean, it's a great, what was your number? 51?
53. It was at
53.
51 before. I'm going to go 53. I think it gets a little bit more this time. It's already at 46. It's going to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it should get another 10 grand.
It's a 43.
I'll go 56. I mean, that's so much car for 56 grand. I mean, even if you just like pulled that powertrain. I mean, it's a G50, guys. It's a G50. Yeah. Guys, remember, this is a G50. You pull that powertrain,
coilovers,
coupe that you get with pull the powertrain, like get yourself find yourself a beat up SC or whatever, and just swap the powertrain, and you'll make your money back on the cab, and your SC will be worth so much more. I don't know. I'm talking to my ass, but I wouldn't do it. I would buy this car and just keep it and drive it and have fun with it and have a lot of eyeball for not a lot of money. But I'm also not a cabrio-phobe like so many of the Nerd Herd. I love the Nerd Herd. Nerd Herd's doing the job tonight. There's new members of the Nerd Herd, and everyone in the herd is welcoming the new members. Thank you for doing that. There are more of you watching than there are thumbs up, so make sure we get a thumbs up, guys, if you're watching the show right now live. We sure appreciate you guys being here with us. And let's move on. We got some more cars to talk about. What do we got?
All right, JP. So I picked what I think is kind of a pretty special car here for us. Let's see if I can unload all this. All right, JP, what we're looking at right now is a 1974 Alfa Romeo GTV 2000 by Alfaholics. Now, some of the Nerd Herd will be familiar with Alfaholics. They are widely regarded as the singer of Alfa Romeo, and they're based out of the UK. Also in the UK, there's a company called Eagle that does a very singer-like treatment to old XKEs. And so Singers and Eagles and Alfaholics GTARs, of which this is built, tend to be very special cars. John, I've got to open up just a couple of windows here, which I forgot to. Our car, JP, previously sold on Bring a Trailer way back in February 26th of 2020. A 74 plain Alfa Romeo GTV 2000 was sold for $50,000. The owner of that car took the car and sent it to the UK to get Alfaholics GTAR conversion, which is like carbon fiber panels, a rebuilt gearbox, sometimes magnesium or aluminum wheels. They redo the interior with fancy seats. But the big news, of course, is the suspension, which is incredible. And then they build the motor. In this case, it's a normally aspirated 2-liter twin plug that is putting out 230 horsepower to the tires. So this guy has receipts from Alphaholics totaling 202,000 British pounds sterlings. Save your breath. I did the math for you. Currently, that is $265,000. So let's do the math now. He spent 50 grand on the car. He spent 264,000 on the conversion. Let's say that this guy is loaded. Let's just pretend he's rich for a minute. He probably air freighted the car over and air freighted the car back. That's another 40 grand plus, whatever tariffs and fees and insurances and yada, yada, yada. And then he drove it for 5 minutes and sold it on Bring a Trailer. And we missed it somehow. In November 30th of 2022, this guy sold his car for $316,000 to Mr. Let's see who the buyer was. If I could just pull this up real quick, because this story will all come together in a minute. Blitz and Bill. So Blitz and Bill dropped $316,000, and this guy was in the car about that. It looks like he almost got his money out of it. Now this guy has brought the car to market, and it is Blitz and Bill, the seller, and he has got the car listed out of San Diego, California. It's a premium listing. It's been running for about 2 weeks. It's an alumni listing because we've seen this car transact twice on Bring a Trailer. And if I'm him right now, I am sort of sweating bullets. Our car, JP, is only up to $197,400, and it closes tomorrow. Decent assets, but not great assets. It's a very special car. I would say that of the GTAR specs, that cars, the full builds, not just a motor, but the full build with the suspension and the body panels, grill and treatment and interior and steering wheel and all the bells and whistles plus the engine. They've probably built less than 100 of these cars in the last 6, 7, 8 years. And yet here's one stateside with left-hand drive that is already registered and smog exempt. It looks like in California, although chances are this guy's got it on a Montana plate. In fact, I'm looking at it now. It looks like it is on a Montana plate. But JP, 230 horsepower. It handles, 911 like really, really well 911 setup. This car will turn heads. This car will do lap times, and this car will give you thrills like you can't imagine. But this is not for the faint of wallet. They're very special cars. They have a great international following. And now we have one here on a domestic title. But JP, he spent all the money to get the car. And I'm going to tell you, as I hand it over to you, I think this guy might be in for a rude awakening. I don't think he's going to get his $316,000 back. Spoiler alert. We'll get to bids in a minute. But JP, what do you think? Any familiarity with the GTAR? They can build cars, JP, that are still normally aspirated up to, on probably high octane fuel, up to 270 brake horsepower. My guess is 230 was the cutoff to run on pump fuel in the United States, where we top out at 91, sometimes 93 octane. Over there in England, you could pull up to the pump at your local gas station and fill it up with 98. And I imagine that's the difference between the 270 spec and the 230 spec stateside. So JP, here we go. The ultimate Alfa Romeo GTV. Do you think this guy's going to get a retail number? What do you say?
Not a chance. This car is gorgeous. It's awesome. It's all the things, but not 300 grand worth right now. I do not see anyone no one's just chomping at the bit to buy something like this for this much money. This car looks like an amazing car for 100 or 150 grand. But I mean, I want to love it, but when I hear that it's supposed to be worth $300,000, I'm sorry, I don't see it. What is it going to actually bring, Deeb?
All right, JP. So, again, he paid $316,000 for the car, and the guy before him probably spent a little more on it than that. but the market is soft. And of all, like, you had the money to buy it, but of all the times to sell it, you're selling it in the fall of 2024. This is going to be like a historically bad quarter for car prices, and I don't see anybody giving him the kind of money he's looking for. JP, man, I'm gonna go. Let's see, he's got 230 horsepower. I think he's gonna get a little more than that. I'm gonna go $254,000. I originally wrote 275, but I don't think he's even gonna get that. I'm gonna go 254. It'll be curious to see if it sells. The guy's loaded and he need to get off the car, and he doesn't care about his losses. But 254 for the rest of us normal people that have to get up and go to work tomorrow, I would say that's a failure to sell because he's not getting his money out of it, and he probably has a firm grip on this car. So 254 to you, JP. He's in at 216. I think he's going to come up about 60 grand short. What about you?
Did you say the Alfaholics is kind of like the singer of Alfa?
Yeah.
I just don't, that doesn't make any sense to me at all, because like you start looking at the trim pieces on this car. Like, look, you've got the holes down here. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but you got the holes where the original bumper went, right? And they're not like, they're still there. If Singer basically takes the car apart and puts it back together the way it should have been from the factory. If Singer did that, if Singer had a Porsche and they took the bumper off, they would then round out the front, so it wouldn't have this notch on it that's there in the bodywork to support the bumper. They would fill in the hole, or at the very least, they would make the hole bespoke. They would put an aluminum trim ring around it so it was a perfect diameter. You know what I mean? It would be every teeny little thing. I mean, this has rust on the logo on the grill down here. Again, if you go straight down from the logo down on the grill bracket, there's like a little bit of rust on that. What the F? This is a $300,000 bespoke recreation. You're out of your mind if you buy this car. I just don't see it. Your number was what? 250?
It's at 197, and I'm at 254.
I'll go 250 just because I think people are goofy on cars like this. And it is a great car, don't get me wrong, but for 250, get out of here with this stuff. All right, let us know what you think in the comments. I think that, there's just with so much going on in the world, I just don't see anybody really jumping out of their seat to buy something like this. We got one more car we want to talk about real quick?
No, JP, we covered them all. That's 4 cars.
Yeah, but there was one more that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, thank you, JP. Sorry, I'm so tired from the thing. JP, thank you for bringing that up. If you could pull it up, it's we're going to cover a car on Sunday night, the 13th, and it is a 1968 Fiat 2300S Coupe. JP, do you have the link? You can pull that.
I'm working on it.
All right. So as I am no longer with Haggerty, this is the first car that I am listing on my own. JP, this car is essentially one of Rafi's cars. It's a Fiat 2300S Coupe with an inline-6 and a manual transmission. It is currently live on Bring a Trailer, and it will close next Monday, October 14th. So we'll cover the car and take a deep dive on this Fiat on Sunday night, the 13th. Guys, it would mean the world to me if you could find some time between now and Sunday night to jump on to Bring a Trailer and just leave a comment if you want, or if you know somebody that's really into Italian cars or Fiats in particular. This is a very, very rare car, and they might be interested as it's going to go for a very affordable price. But it would mean the world to me if you guys would go on there and leave a comment and help me engage with you on my listing. Engagement is the key to success, to create a little buzz and a little swirl. So thank you for taking just a minute out of your day to take a look on there and do a little comment or something about the car so that I have something to work with and try to get this sold for myself and for Rafi. And I really appreciate the herd. Thank you, JP.
For sure, man. Everybody do Deeb a solid and get in there and make some comments. All right, guys. We're hoping that all our friends in the Southeast are safe and staying dry, and we hope this whole Hurricane Milton thing just kind of literally blows over and is much ado about nothing like they often are. I haven't been watching the news, so I don't know if things are bad already, but we really hope all of just everybody stay safe out there. All right, let us know if there's any cars that you guys want us to cover in the future. You know, it's always great when we get you guys DMing us on the IG, on the Instagram. Send us links, and we'll put them in the schedule. Are you selling a car? Maybe we'll cover your car or just something that you think is interesting or nice. We always love getting nerd herd suggestions over our stupid idea of what's interesting. On the next episode, I think we might be getting someone from Mecum Auctions might be joining us.
Will that happen?
Yeah, I don't want to say a name yet because I don't know if it's happening or not, but supposedly
that'll be great.
A famous Mecum person will be joining us on Sunday, possibly.
They have a big auction coming up in what do you call it? Las Vegas, right? You know where that is?
Yep, where we are right now. So
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you. We're gonna dip out of here with the commercial from God and Porsche, and we will see you Sunday night. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden. This guy. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas.